Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Deyshawlah. I want to thank you for your subscriptions, your views, your likes. They mean so much to me. So today we're going to be learning how to draft an off-shoulder bodice with princess cut. Now when you're doing that, the first thing you would like to note is how low you want your off-shoulder to be. It could be from 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches. For the sake of this tutorial, it's going to be 4 inches low. So we're going to step away like half an inch from the self edge of the fabric and we draw an horizontal line. So next we're going to be marking the lengths as always. The neck depth for this cloth is 6.5 inches, which I'm going to be marking there. Then I'm going to be marking the bust point, which is 10.5 inches, under bust 14 and half length 16.5. Then I move to the middle of the fabric and mark those same points again, and with a ruler I'm going to be connecting the lines horizontally across. So now we need to get the depth of the armhole, but before doing that, let's mark the shoulder. So half of the shoulder is 8.2 because the shoulder is 16.5. And I'm going to be marking it on the edge of the fabric and on the chest line, and then I'll connect it. So now using that line as a guide, I'm going to be going down 9 inches for the armhole depth. For how to calculate that, you can watch my video on the basic bodice pattern. So finding half of the armhole depth, I'm going to be going in by half an inch there, and with my tailor's curve or armhole curve, we'll be drawing the curve of the armhole. So it's worthy of note that this fabric is placed on fold. The one you can see is the lining, and the lemon one inside is a satin. So now we need to find 1/8 of the bust circumference, which is 4.5, because the bust circumference is 36. So I'm going to be marking 4.5 on the bust point, under bust and the waistline. And then with the ruler, I'm going to connect it to draw a straight line. Now on the under bust, I'm going inward by half an inch and going outward by 1.5 inches. Please watch me closely. Then I'm going to go down 1 inch from the bust point. So connecting from the bust point to the armhole, I want a dart there, so I'm going to be going down by 1 inch from the armhole and then going up by 1 inch from the bust point to form my dart. Also, I'm going to be using a curved hand to form the princess cut, or if you have your armhole curved, just flip it downward and use it to form it. It makes it easier. So the reason why we went down by 1 inch for those doing a freehand curve is that if you draw your curve directly from the bust point, you most likely will have an artificial nipple that's a sharp point at the bust point, which is unflattering. Okay, so going down 1 inch will help you, making your curve more realistic to flatter the body of the person who you're making it for. So now we connect the rest of the lines. So now we're going to be marking the circumferences. The quarter of the bust point is 9 because the bust point is 36 inches. So on the fabric, I'm going to be marking 9 inches plus half an inch for sewing allowance of the princess dart. Then under the bust is 30 inches and 30 inches. You're going to mark 7.5 plus half an inch, making it 8. The waistline too is 30 inches, which is 7.5 plus half an inch, making it 8. So now I'm going to draw the neckline. If it were to be a sweetheart neck, you just draw the slope as I'm doing here, but I don't want a sweetheart neck for this one. I want the regular, off shoulder neck. So I'm just showing you how to do it. With my hip curve, I'm going to be drawing the regular neck, the neck I want for this, dress. So now I'm cross-checking the arm side, because the arm side, also known as armhole, is 18 inches and half of that is 9. So I'm marking that, So with my hip curve flipped downwards, I'm going to be connecting the lines. Okay, so we're done with the sides now. Okay, one more thing for the neck, we need to take away 1 inch. Okay, so instead of the 8 we had there, we're going to be having 7 now. And with my armhole curve, I'm going to redraw the armhole. This will take out any form of looseness from the shoulder. It's very important that we do it. So cutting now with 1/2 inch on the band, that's the half length, and about 1.5 to 2 inches allowance on the side. Then for the neck, 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch maximum, that's the allowance I'm putting there. Then for the armhole, about 1/2 inch. The reason why I'm cutting in layers is because I didn't pin all round and I don't want it to shift, and the scissors isn't so sharp today. Okay, now I'm making notches at the waistline, under bust and bust point. This will help me when I'm aligning the two pieces of fabrics together to join them. Okay, so now we're done with the front. See how pretty it looks? It's really going to flatter the owner of the dress. So now we move to the back piece. Okay, so just as we did in front, we're going to be moving downward from the edge of the fabric 1/2 inch, and then we're going to be moving inward from the side 1.5 inches to account for the zip allowance. I find working with small pieces of fabric easier than the main fabric, so in the description box I'm going to be explaining how I cut this piece to be just enough for the front and the back pieces respectively. So now let's mark the lengths, the same lengths we used in front: 6.5, 10, 14 and 16.5. So after marking those, we draw horizontal lines just as we did in the front. So we're marking the shoulder again, 8.2, and we're drawing the armhole curve. So this time around we're not going in by 1/2 inch because it's the back. With the hip curve, we're going to be drawing the neckline for the back. Okay, I'm turning it so we can see better. So now the back dart is starting from 8 inches, and using the line of the zip for our reference, we're going to be measuring 4.5 inches, and then with a straight ruler we're going to draw a straight line. We want to create a dart for the back. So on both sides on the waistline we're going to be marking 3/4 inch, and we form our darts. So I'm using my hip curve to form my dart. You can also use a straight ruler, it really depends on you. So now we're going to be marking the circumferences. Starting from the waist, we're marking 7.5 plus 1/2 inch, making 8. 7.5 is 1/4 of 30 inches, which is the waist circumference. So we're going to be marking 7.5 plus 1/2 inch as well, which is 8 for under the bust, because under the bust as well is 30 inches, and 7.5 is 1/4 of 30 inches. So we're going to be marking 9 inches plus 1/2 inch, which is 9.5 for the bust point. Okay, so now we're connecting the lines, and then for the neckline, just as we did in front, we're going to take away 1 inch from the neckline. Okay, and then we're going to redraw our armhole. Okay, so you need to follow this trick if you're making your dress or your top for a curvy person. So now we're going to go up by ½ an inch and redraw the line. You can see the difference. Then going in from the zipper by 1 inch, like you're creating another dart there, and redraw the line. Okay, so that will take away the bulge at the zipper place. It's always very unflattering when there's a bulge there, but because we've adjusted the measurements, we have to remeasure and account for the ones that we've taken out. Okay, you can see after remeasuring that we would have to redraw the line, okay, to account for what we took away at the middle. On this folded pattern paper, I'm going to mark half of the circumference of the upper arm, which is 6, and half of the bicep, which is 6.5, because they are 12 and 13 respectively. And with a gentle freehand slope, I'm going to be drawing the slope of the sleeve. So now I have a tutorial on how to draft the basic sleeve pattern. If you would like an in-depth explanation of how to do this with the sewing tools and even yourself with your hand. So I'm measuring the slope now to make sure that it aligns with the armhole. That is the same measurement as the armhole, and then I'm connecting. Now remember that on the bodice of the off shoulder, we went down by 4 inches. So now from the beginning of the slope, from the folded edge, we have to also go down by 4 inches. Okay, so after doing that, we're going to, with a ruler, draw a perpendicular line. That's a 90-degree line from that place to the folded edge of the fabric. So the place I'm shading goes out, and that's all there is to drafting the basic sleeve, or the sleeve rather, not the basic sleeve, but the sleeve of your off shoulder. We trace out the shape of the sleeve. Now the reason why I did it on a pattern paper is because this lace material you're seeing here is the main fabric, and drawing upon that might not be visible for you. So that's why I did it on the pattern paper. Now we're going to cut the shape of this sleeve on the pattern paper with allowance. Remember, this lace material was in limited supply. After cutting the off shoulder bodice, I had to now trace out the pieces with the lace. I placed the lace on the already cut pattern and then traced out the shape. Okay, this helped, economize the fabric than cutting it into square bits like I did with the lining and the satin. So we're done now. This bar strip is going to be used to fold in the edge of the sleeve. It's going to make it neater. So I'm going to be sharing pictures of the finished dress with you. If you followed my cutting instructions, then your neckline will most likely look like this. If this has been helpful to you, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Also leave questions and comments in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you. Take care, God bless you, and bye.